Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Build a pivot table design frequency table in minutes. This is what we're going to build. Here we have, basically we have the same structure as we have in the other examples. We have the data, score, and we're going to develop this pivot table here, and then a quick 30-second overview of a pivot table chart. We're going to move over to a new sheet. Here we have the same information. We have 224 rows, just test scores. We're going to hide the majority of this stuff so I can show you guys what's going on. Hide. We're going to kill this split. We're at 100%. I'm going to move this up to 115 so you guys can see everything what's going on. This is just flat data. It's not a table. We can put this in table format, but for simplicity, let's just keep it as it is. Now we're just going to create a pivot table. We're going to go insert pivot table. We're going to use this range. We see what these moving dashes. Existing worksheet. We'll just set it right here. We'll hit OK. We have score and students. If we want to build a pivot table, we're going to work with score because we have this range of data and we want to see sort of a distribution of the data. So we'll hit score. We have sum of score. We also want to see rows. Here we have rows of data, but that doesn't help us build a pivot table design frequency table. We have this data set up here, but it doesn't tell us much. What we can do, as we've done in the past, we can group this data. So just grab any number, in other words, highlight any particular number in the pivot table, go up to the pivot table, analyze, and then we have group selection, and then we have group field. We want to put this in a group field. Why? Because we want a distribution. We want to break this down into small segments. So click group field. Here we have grouping. And what does this do? It's going to break this parameter down. We want to look at this high number and the low number. And if we start at 15 and end at 99 by tens, well, we're missing some data here. We can go to 0. We can go a minimum. And the deal here is I set this score to be, and it's random. In other words, I use that random between. We can go 15 to 99 by tens, and I'll just show you what it looks like. And there is the range. Again, we have 224, and the sum of score is this. We want to change a couple of things. One, we want the count here. Maybe we want to start at 0 here because we're going up to 104 and the max is 100. And I'll show you what I mean. You see random between, I have 15 and 100. That's why this set to 104, it just rounded up. Go here, remember how to change this. We can just right click, hit summarize values by count, and now we have count. If we want to change this range, just right click, it's going to want to take us back into this group field. We can change this to 10. Now we have 99. We can modify this, go back to group field, starting at 0, ending at 100. Now this thing is defaulting based on data here. So we can override this. Let's just see what it looks like. Hit OK. And now we have 10 to 19, 20 to 19, and then the data here. That's how simple it is. And you know how to go about and change the appearance. We're not going to focus on that right now. We can change the name here. We can put score. We can put count. If we want to remove this drop-down arrow, we can go up here to pivot table and remove row header. In terms of setting up a pivot chart, we go into pivot table, analyze, go over to pivot chart, go to column, and we're not going to delve into this We'll get into pivot charts later. Hit this OK. Here we have a pivot chart. Make these fatter. We're not going to worry about that right now. All I want to do is point out, hit F9, and you can see the numbers are changing. Just go to this pivot table. Remember, refresh, hit refresh. The histogram will change. Hit F9 again, hit refresh, right click, refresh. You can see the change. So that's how you put together a bucket or a range. We call these buckets or ranges. It's very simple. You just go into the pivot table, analyze. Be sure you're in the right group. If you're over here in the count, you can't group. You have to be in a groupable column in order to use the group format. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. See you soon.